When you think of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you probably picture that famous gravity-defying tilt. But did you know that today, the tower's lean is actually part of the plan, thanks to some of the most creative engineering ever attempted? The story of how this iconic monument was saved is a wild ride through history, science, and a whole lot of trial and error. The goal wasn't to straighten the tower completely. Instead, engineers wanted to preserve that perfect, unmistakable lean, the very thing that draws millions of visitors from around the world. But keeping it standing, while making sure it didn't collapse, was a challenge that spanned centuries. Let's rewind to the beginning. Construction on the Leaning Tower of Pisa started way back in 1173. Almost immediately, the tower began to tilt. Imagine the surprise of the builders as they watched their masterpiece start to lean, stone by stone, year after year. The problem wasn't their craftsmanship, it was the ground beneath their feet. Why did this happen? The answer lies underground. The tower sits on a foundation of soft, squishy clay and sand, a patchwork of ancient river deposits and loose soil. Think of it like a giant, unstable layer cake made of dirt. When the heavy marble tower started to rise, the ground couldn't handle the weight, and the whole structure began to sink unevenly. The south side of the tower in particular started to sink faster than the north. This uneven settling is what caused the famous tilt, and as the years went by, the problem only got worse. The tower's foundation was just 3 meters deep, nowhere near enough for a building of its size and weight. Over the centuries, builders and architects tried all sorts of tricks to fix the problem. They made one side of the tower taller than the other, hoping to compensate for the lean. They even tried to adjust the angle of the upper floors as they built, creating a subtle curve in the structure. It was a bit like trying to balance a stack of books on a soft mattress. No matter what they did, the lean persisted. The result? The Leaning Tower of Pisa isn't just tilted, it's actually curved, almost like a giant banana-shaped bell tower. This unique shape is a testament to centuries of improvisation and ingenuity as builders tried to outsmart the forces of nature. As time marched on, the lean became more and more pronounced. By the 20th century, the tower was tilting at a dangerous angle, over 5 degrees. That might not sound like much, but for a 56-meter-tall stone tower, it was a recipe for disaster. In fact, by 1990, experts warned that the tower was on the verge of collapse. The city of Pisa even closed the tower to the public, fearing it could fall at any moment. The world watched anxiously as Pisa's most famous landmark teetered on the edge. Tourists snapped photos, but engineers and city officials knew something had to be done, fast. The challenge was clear: save the tower but don't lose its iconic lean. Enter a team of international engineers, geologists, and architects